Coming to you from the Big Island of Hawaii, it's the Songs and Stories Podcast. And now, here's your host, Steve Roby.
Aloha, this is Steve Roby from Big Island Music Magazine, and today I'm at the Kahilu Theatre, and I'm speaking with conductor Brian Dollinger. Aloha, welcome back to the Big Island.
Thank you for having me, Steve. It's great to see you again. It's been a while.
It's been, 3 years in person?
Somewhere like that because of COVID and putting the kibosh on live performances, but it's been a while, but again, appreciate all the coverage you've been able to give us through that pleasure. Time too. So, but it's great to be back in person. At a concert in just over an hour and a half, and watching the ticket sales, and we're looking pretty close to a full house, and we're really excited about that. Yes.
Wonderful. So it has been 3 years since you've performed to a live audience, and today's show is called, appropriately, A Dynamic Return.
Right, exactly.
Tell me about what's the program like today?
Well, the program is kind of part of the overarching theme is coming back and forward motion as we all move together coming out of the pandemic, and there's a number of pieces on here that people will know. Mm-hmm. One of my goals with my programming is that anyone off the street would come in and recognize something. And so our first piece, The Hebrides, Fingal's Cave by Mendelssohn, is a very well-known tune. And what's interesting is that fits that niche for everyone will recognize the theme. But also it's great because when Mendelssohn wrote it, it was when he was on a ship in the Scottish Isles, and what is his perspective and his experiences on the ocean, as well as seeing these islands coming up in these caves and these mountains. And it's not unlike the Big Island here. Being out on the water, being on any kind of ship where you feel the waves, and seeing the expansiveness coming out of the mist. Just even this morning driving up, just the cloud cover, then as it starts to dissipate, what it reveals is amazing. So it's a great way to start the concert. It just fits right in. And then our second piece, we're featuring Ursula Wietz, our concertmaster, in the second performance of a piece ever by a colleague of mine. His name's David Stern out of California. His Rhapsody for Violin and Strings. And this is a wonderful piece that I premiered during the pandemic with one of my orchestras. And he, as a living composer, some people think, oh gosh, contemporary music, I don't know if I'm gonna like that. He's neo-romantic, meaning very approachable harmonies and styles. And almost to a T, every time I've performed one of his works, I've gotten an emotional response from people in the audience when they come out in the lobby. They tell me how much it reached them emotionally, and this piece is no different. There's a lot of similarities between this piece and Barber's Adagio. He had some influence into how David wrote this piece, but it's really great because it features the beautiful string section, and then Ursula as their leader kind of featured as well. Nice. And then one of my favorite works, as a string bass player, I love playing Beethoven's music. It's fantastic, wonderful stuff. Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, everybody knows. Ba-ba-ba-bum. But that's been my favorite for years. But this Symphony No. 7, what we're performing today, I think has overtaken it for me. The style of it, the energy of it, the melodies of it, it's just really catchy. And again, going with our forward motion theme, the whole piece has got that feeling. Whether it's a driving, forceful, loud, fast motion, or even in the slower movement where there's just this undulating motion. Boom, 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 beam. You can feel it underneath, and it's just I'm getting goosebumps. Today's been a day of goosebumps for me. The orchestra's been playing fantastic. What's that?
Chicken skin.
Chicken skin. That's right. That's right. And so and then the way that it ends. What's interesting, the first two pieces end quietly, and so it's very thought-provoking, very pensive, reaching listeners in a different emotional way. But the Beethoven, on the other hand, that's going to be one of those where people are going to be just drawn out of their seats out of excitement. So I'm really excited to bring that here to the Big Island.
Well, let's talk about the 2022-23 season for the Kamuela Philharmonic Orchestra. What's in store for the future audiences to come? What can they look forward to?
I might be a broken record, but I say a little bit of everything.
Okay.
In January, when we return for our next Masterworks, that is when our young artist competition winners, ranging from 8 years old all the way to 18, get a chance to perform for the Philharmonic.
Nice.
Students can still have the opportunity. We're going to have auditions virtually this year still. One more year because of COVID and things like that, just to make sure we're all safe. And so the students throughout the Hawaiian Islands can administer an audition video to compete.
Sometimes there's pluses in that too.
Yes, well, there's, and sometimes some kids that don't normally have the opportunity be like, well, I could try. It's a little less nerve-wracking than sitting in front of people.
Sure.
And so we have till December for students all across the islands to bring those in. So I'm hoping some of your listeners will know a young musician that'll audition.
How would they go about that?
Well, on the Kamuela Philharmonic website,
Okay.
there's a drop-down menu for the competition.
Okay.
And this year it's actually featuring, we rotate years, and last year was string instruments. This year is piano, woodwinds, and brass. I'd love to have a percussionist audition. That's part of it too, but we've never had someone bring in the timpani or something like that. But that would be fantastic.
That would be.
Yes. Anyway, so that concert will feature that, as well as Hilo composer Irmun Sul. We're going to do a world premiere of one of his pieces, Three Virtues of Zarathustra. Really, really thought-provoking work, very rich in sound and range. Really excited about that. And then we come just a couple days later, even though it's not part of our masterworks, we're coming back live to our education performances for the kids. And so we're going to bring busloads of keiki into hear the Kahilu.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. And what's amazing is we're going to be bringing one of our young artist winners from last year in because she couldn't perform with us. So they're going to get to see a kid, she's 15, but still a kid, performing for them. And so it's kind of inspirational for them. And
fun.
then Dan Brown, who's the author of Da Vinci Code,
Right.
he's actually a musician as well, pianist. He wrote a book, Wild Symphony, which is, I picked it up at the San Francisco airport, one of my trips out here, and I loved it because I got it for my daughter. Well, then there's music to it, and so I reached out to Dan and his representatives, and there's orchestration for it.
Really?
And so we're going to bring that to life here.
Whoa.
And we also, they're going to be able to project parts of the book. It's going to be so awesome.
How are they going to do that? The back screen?
Back screen.
Somebody else will take care
the tech guys.
Just
Paul Buckley, my man of music, they're fantastic. They'll figure it out.
Fun. Wow,
So
an
that's
exciting season.
Yes, it is. And then we come back for our March Masterworks. This one, I say excited again, but it is, I can't find any other thing to say about it. I love Brahms Symphony No. 1, but I'm bringing out an international violin competition winner, Serena Wong. She is phenomenal.
Where's she from?
She's from the East Coast.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, I think she's Korean, but from the East Coast and moved when young. And she won the Elmar Oliveira International Competition a few years ago down in Florida. But just yesterday, it was announced she was the gold medal winner for the Indianapolis International Violin Competition with the symphony.
Nice.
Huge for her.
Yeah.
So she's coming out to play with us in March.
Okay.
I mean, unbelievable. And then we have one more addition to our subscription season, which is a Pops concert in May. And it'll be on Armed Forces Weekend. I believe it's April 22nd. It's the Sunday, I believe. Or May 22nd, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
And it's going to be Pops, and we're going to be featuring a couple of Big Island artists as soloists and doing movies, Broadway, patriotic, all sorts of things that I think if a listener is still kind of nervous about checking out the Philharmonic, that's definitely one to check out.
Good starter.
Good start. It's a very good start.
What a fun, exciting season ahead.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Hey, I've always been curious. We talked a little bit about this before we started the interview, but what goes on inside a conductor's head while you're up there conducting? I mean, you must have eyes like a chameleon going this way. I mean, I've watched you conduct before. You're concentrated on the person taking the solo or the section that's taking the solo. But over here, you must be like a little radar gun over here, like going, okay, are you there? Tell me about what's going on inside your head.
Well, that's actually there's a myriad of things that I enjoy about conducting. But one of the things about conducting that is really cool is I live in 3 different time zones at the same moment. Meaning what's happening now, but then I also have to, especially in rehearsals, know what happened to remember it, to go back and work on it. And then what's coming up. I have to prepare them for what's coming up. What do I need them to do? Or if there's a spot that's really hard, how do I prepare them for that next thing? So 3 different time zones all the time. But what do I think of in rehearsal is always different than in performance. Rehearsal is one of those moments where I kind of subscribe to what does make a good conductor, in my opinion, is one that rehearses the orchestra and teaches them that a movement or work so that if a light falls on my head, I fall over, they finish it, and they do it beautifully like we've rehearsed. And what I'm really thrilled about the orchestra, just a few minutes ago in our rehearsal, the second movement of the Beethoven, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go listen. And so I went out in the hall for the whole movement and listened. There were moments that brought tears to my eyes, because the things that I was teaching them and rehearsing with them, they were really doing, and the things I wanted to come across was gorgeous. I mean, again, there
it is.
There they are.
I know this is an audio interview, but there's actual chicken skin forming on Brian's right arm.
I mean, it is amazing, and So for me, when we get to the concerts, my first job is obviously start and stopping together, but
Sure.
it's still the inspirational part because we've done the work now. And then to be there if somebody needs help. If something gets off a little bit, how to get them back on, and knock on wood, that doesn't or just rarely happens. And I told them in this performance, I'm actually going to be trying things differently with my arms than what they've seen in rehearsal because I want to be making music too. And so I'm not just beating beats or cueing people. I want to be part of it. So there's going to be some different things they're going to see they've never seen in the performance as well. So
Can you give us a preview of what?
One is just like I'm sitting here, just nothing. I may just stand there and close my eyes and move with them. Some of the most amazing times I have is holding the baton. Leonard Bernstein, many years ago, he would have a cigarette in one hand, right? And it'd just be kind of floppy. And sometimes he'd hold his baton between the fingers the similar way, just so loose and flowing. And when I'm able to do that, you know that the orchestra is playing on another level.
Does that make him play harder?
No, it's relaxed.
Oh, okay.
Because the baton, if someone came up, they could probably knock it out of my hand. I'm holding it that gently. And just flowing my arms.
So that sets
slow
the
with
mood. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And what I'm finding too in this Beethoven, there's a lot of fast, aggressive playing, a lot of rhythms. I'm finding I'm not having to pound it, as we say in conducting with them. I'm actually connecting the bigger, longer patterns while they're driving away underneath. And so for me, I'm really looking forward to this because they're doing so well with this music that I'm not going to have to be traffic cop all the time. I can just be in the sound. And there's some of the most glorious times I can remember conducting is closing my eyes in a concert and just having the sound envelop me. So for me, again, what am I thinking? What am I looking at? It's those things, but always two things happen. One, I'm always aware if someone needs help, because if they need help, I need to be there for them. And the other thing is I'm always taking a third-person radar view of what I'm doing. Am I being clear? Am I in the way? Am I being helpful? Am I inspiring? Always checking in on that all the time.
Thank you for answering that. I was because there must be a lot going on in your head. I mean, your eyes are working, your ears are working,
Right.
and your hands are massaging
body,
the whole.
yes. And the breath. There's times I'll just breathe a certain way and they respond. So
Well, I'll be looking forward to that this
Yeah,
afternoon.
it's
I'll be
really
watching.
cool.
Yeah. Brian Dollinger, thank you so much for your time. It's so good to see you in person, face to face. It's been far too long.
Yes.
Have a great show today.
Thank you, Steve. Great to see you. We'll see you again.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Thanks for listening to the Songs and Stories podcast. Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. We'll see you next week on Songs and Stories. Aloha.